The whole world is functioning by the principle of transaction. And Earth is giving a lot of sanctions to us, and we are in the receiving end. And until the government that is formed, that means the transaction of giving all the resources in an organized way for the dependent citizens. So there is a hierarchy of transaction. So in these various transactions, the basic axis of all these transactions to be more effective, more fruitful and permanent is known as knowledge transaction. And the organization, like there is a government for resource transaction or resource transmission, the organization with a lot of serenity, dedication, divinity and absolute wish for making this transaction is known as a school. So there is a cluster of various ideologies or various objects which form the compound of knowledge transaction. And any person holding that knowledge is known as scholar, any person willing to hold is known as a student, and any such group of persons with common determination, they are known as staff, and any such thing that is selected for knowledge acquisition is known as subject, and any such thing that has been orderly framed for making those things understandable is known as syllabus. So everything is its own S. It is known as S dynasty or S componential studies of subject, syllabus, school, student, scholar, etc. So this knowledge transaction is done by two activities. Transaction means giving and taking, and exclusively the terminology of knowledge transaction we have to call it as learning and teaching. So there is a separate science known as pedagogy, in which we have conducted also a lot of seminars about instruction methodology, psychoanalytical study of a student, campus methodology, curriculum designing, syllabus designing, classroom maintenance and management, then knowledge management, library management, technical management, personal governance with students, and eligibility maintenance, developmental studies of students and their various other performance quotients, sport management, relaxation management, divertive and inventive studies. So innumerable studies are there for these teachers for understanding what is teaching as well as making the children to understand what is learning. So they are having a by-ended duty in which they have to know what their duty is. Then they have to also see that how the teachers can impart that knowledge to the students how to learn. And certainly you know that there is a process of consuming. It deals with the four things. One is presentation. How you present the thing more than what it is there. How you present the thing that gives the value. Second is the time, mood as well as environmental synchronization. There should be a proper environment by means of infrastructure. And second thing, there should be a proper mood response for the children which we should develop by means of your presentation. And third thing is by the process of the real value imparting of knowledge. We should see that it synchronizes so that the children get benefited. And there are innumerable methods of feeding. One is pictorial feeding. Whenever you present, there are a lot of pictures. There are educative pictures and pictorial education. What is educative picture? If there is a picture which shows you, for example, everybody they are conducting some sort of a great seminar on hunger and hunger strike and food insecurity. There was a very big show. Lot of people from various other FAO organizations there for that, and UNICEF, then World Poverty Alleviation Department of the World Bank. Everybody they were presenting innumerable PowerPoint presentations with explanations for half an hour, 1 hour, etc. There was a small picture that is being drawn by a person, whereby a mother is depicted there with a child, and a mother who was having a totally contracted and shrunk breast with a searching child, along with a leaf full of scattered residual meal, in which dogs are also equally quarreling with the mother for food. And this depiction would have been more impressive than that of any statistical figures given by FAO people or World Health Organization people or the World Bank people. So like that, a picture can give you the best education, and education or teaching is a project by which you can draw a picture in the minds of the child, unless it is converted to drawing, because there are three allergies to people. One is numerical allergy. Whenever you come with numbers, there are a lot of allergies. And there is also selective numerical allergy. For example, if you say some fun or some connectivity with numbers regarding square roots or the magic of 9, etc., it may be somewhat impressive to the students. But whenever you are going for decimal things, algebra, the differential calculus, those numericals that are with coefficients and unorganized presentation of a high-end arithmetic progression will not be entertaining. That is numerical allergy. Second is logical allergy. Whenever you are going on explaining logics, this happens like this. If it is happening like this, what will happen? If it is not happening, what if you are going on extending with a logical branch, you cannot get entry into the child. I am talking about the classification of children. Number one, allergic children. Second is energetic children. Third is synergetic children. Synergetic children are inspiration model to teachers. And energetic children are cooperative elements to the teacher. And allergic children are challenges to the teacher and they have to take care more. So we have to classify the whole classroom with these three basic classification and we have to take care how it is possible. So numerical allergy, second is logical allergy, third thing is linguistic allergy. Whenever you use high words and terminologies, especially if you talk like me, no children will be attracted. Some children, they may be appreciating our language or just being excited that somebody would speak like that. Apart from that, what is the purpose of a speech? It is not to mesmerize the people. It is to metamorphose the people for transformation. So that will not happen in higher lecture. So we have to be, whenever there is a stream, the stream cannot directly falling from the top of the mountains, it cannot enter inside the agricultural field. It will not result harvest but in holocaust. What we want to produce is, the stream should be brought towards a riverly atmosphere, then it should be dammed and irrigated by canals. Like that, whatever we give from our own stuff, you are all dams, and you have to make your own channels of restricted permissibility of the essential quantum that is required for the sufficient as well as salubrious irrigation to the students at all. Unless they are specially talented, it is not directly accessible to the children at all. So this logic, numerical and linguistic allergies are to be understood, and everything we should be very much converted into pictorial presentation. What is pictorial presentation? Whenever you explain about Mahatma Gandhi, pictorial depiction is easy. There are three types of conversions: divisional conversion, distant conversion and drastic conversion. Divisional conversion is easy. Whenever you are teaching about history, you can talk about Mahatma Gandhi, you can talk about Ashoka, you can talk about Vikramaditya and bring the picture. It is possible. That is divisional conversion. That which is having provision for convertibility and bringing them in figures is very easy. There is not a problem. And second thing is distant. Whenever you are teaching language, whenever you are teaching mathematics, to bring picturization is a different art. And third thing is, whenever you are teaching chemistry and biology, whenever you are teaching complex substances, to convert them into pictures is a drastic conversion. So there should be an exercise. You see, you note that NCERT people, they are doing lot of exercises. Whether there is effect or not, they have published a lot of books on that. So we should see that there is a mathematical lesson, there is a historical lesson, there is also a lesson that deals with complex equations like chemistry or biology. How pictorial description should be that should be a lesson conducted by people. Then that model should be recorded and you should practice it with a second lesson on your own and send the record to me. And if there is any gap or insufficiency, note the performance rate will be, if it is a capable teacher, then up to 60%, more than 60%, 60 plus first class, they can have the inspirational imitation model. If it is a second grade, they can actually pass by crossing 40. And below 40, there are poor teachers, they have to be taught once again by some supreme teachers. So we have to see how this pictorial conversion of creating visualization in the minds of the children is done there. And second thing is cognitive load. What is cognitive load? You know that how much you can carry, weight, physical mass. Like that, in the science of pedagogy, they have converted all these syllabus into cognitive load elements. If there is chemistry, and you know that the weight of substance here in Earth is different from the weight of the same substance at Mars. You know that. Because of the gravity variation, because of the material structure variation, the mass differs from each planet. Like that, the mass that differs from each person to other person depending upon his acceptability or receptivity. A subject of 100 tons may be a few grams to somebody. And there are some people who say that oh, the question paper is tough. And a teacher used to comment that even if the textbook is given to most of the students, they cannot write and pass the examinations. Some great people are there. So it depends upon the evaluation of their receptivity and personal status of knowledge acquisition to evaluate the mass or cognitive load of it. Cognitive load that deals with not only a separate factor that is just like a book or syllabus, it deals with the personal response or personal reflection of the cognitive thing is there. There is a chart for measuring cognitive load. And whenever you enroll any person, the cognitive load should be measured for the person and suitable design should be made palpably approachable for the child for its own development. There are three things which we want to do now, also the duties of a teacher. One is pass. It is an immediate benefit is to get over with all the examinations and vacate the school premises with pride that he has got the certificate. That is the first thing. It is to make the children just pass. And the second thing is excellence, to make the child outstanding. Third thing, to create independence excellence for the child, by which whatever that carries the person in the experience that it has involved in these premises will be taken over to all environments, either academic upgradation, even professional status, social behavior, then domestic responsibility. It reflects in all areas. That is the greatest thing. So there are three exercises. Our first exercise is to see that the person reaches the shore. That is by just getting pass. So the purpose of enrollment of a person is to complete the education. So completion of the education is the first thing. And second thing is to develop some sort of compatibility for the person so that he can look after everything, etc. Third is to develop independent competency for the person that he can manage each and everything. What are the modules for that? One is known as assessment. Second is known as approach. Third thing is known as association. First of all, you have to assess people. Just as you are having diagnostic devices for pathology and other thing, you should also possess lot of assessment devices. One is intention. How much they are having intention? What is the ratio or proportion of their intention? There are a lot of intentions. Number one is involvement. Number second is mere desire. Number three, it is dream. Number four, it is destination. Number fifth, it is imitation. Number six, it is instigation. These are all the responses from children. Some children, unless instigated, they won't work at all. Some children, unless they are compared with other people, they won't work at all. Yesterday I told about how to create a healthy competitive urge, competitive entry. I told about different types of memory. So, if it is a mere desire, or if it is a mere artistic dream, or it should be converted into positive autism, instead of being self-immersing autism which makes the person not to progress in any walk of life, it should be converted. Each and every child is inherently autistic. If a child is not autistic, the child will be mentally retarded or spiritually highly advanced. So autism is not a disease to be treated, it is a crude raw material which should be converted with a high-end profile for positive autism. Lot of people, somebody told that what are you specializing? I told that there are a lot of other treatments to be made to children. Somebody told that I am in the process. And what are you doing? I am dealing with the therapeutic methods of approaching autistic children. If you say it is therapeutic, it is a transformational approach that you have to do, or it is a conversion approach. There is no requirement for any treatment at all because autism is the nature of everybody. A poet is autistic in nature, but that is connected with literary consanguinity. A spiritual person is artistic in nature, but that is connected with the inner vision. A scientist is artistic in nature, but that is connected with cognitive drill and inner scrutiny. So autism, unconnected with anything, is like a woman with youth and all ornaments, myths or robbers and rapists. So you should have that security of affiliation of your autism with something else. You should have scientific, spiritual, social, aesthetic or any other connectivity should be there. So you should assess the children. How you can make the assessment? How to assess your own self, it will take at least a week or 10 days. And to get the talent to assess each and everybody, that requires consummate knowledge. See, personal handling is different from composite handling. If you just you want to know about you, your blood group, if you want to know, you can get it in 20 minutes. But for organizing everybody and understanding about all blood groups, all clones, platelets and the studies of hematology, it will take some more time. So this assessment requires a single day of workshop wherein by few selected students randomly they are subjected to assessment. Assessment is by 4 methodologies. One is a historical perspective. What is historical perspective? It deals with just having some information about their physical nature, the parental nature, environment, just a casual. It should not be a digging investigation. It should be a casual entry. As I told about casual entry, it is about understanding the historical perspective or the background of the child. And there are 2 possibilities. One is reflection of, it is known as osmosis in physics. Here also we are talking it as eco-osmosis. What is eco-osmosis? The possibility of a teacher to create an environment which dominates the other environments of the children. Second thing is other dominant environments of the children reflecting in the academic campus and the system of learning. And we should take a serious way of supra-osmosis instead of the basic osmosis or infra-osmosis that we have. What is infra-osmosis? It is the osmotic pressure of other environments reflecting on working atmosphere and learning atmosphere. And the supra or ultra-osmotic exercise is a high-end pressure which can be brought by the teacher so that this environment reflects on various other needs. So first of all, assessment is workshop. Randomly we have to take people understanding the history. One. Second thing, understanding physical observation and their behavior at the time of teaching. Attention is there, lenience is there, flexibility is there, diversion is there, restlessness is there, impatience is there, optical strain or migraine. A lot of people that they get headaches are there. And whenever they finish that class, we have to see 3 major situations in the curve. There is a curvature of response, which has an origination, which has a procession, and which has a conservation or culmination. So whenever you start the class, how they are behaving, just you have to watch. You should not alert, you should not advise, you should not suggest. The natural study should be there. It is known as behavioral study. So the second thing apart from historical perspective is behavioral study. When you start the class, are they alert? Are they trying to come like this? Are they just widening their eyes? How do they respond? Positive response is there, meager response is there, marginal response is there, minimal response is there, coercive response is there, lack of response is there, unavoidable response is also there, which is based on circumstances. We can differentiate these things. This also requires, unless a teacher penetrates inside you, we cannot become a teacher. So teacher, in the heart they should have a teacher, and in the brain they should have a master, and soul they should have the spirit. So these 3 things united, that makes a teacher very powerful. There should be 3 people inside you. There should be a jnani in your brain, there should be a sadhu inside your heart, there should be sat inside your soul, which is nothing but God. So unless there is Deva Sahaya, Sat Sahaya and Sadhu Sahaya, we cannot get teacherhood. We should possess all of these various elements required. So we should observe how the immediate behavior is there. When the classroom gets into climax, by heat discussions on entering inside the point, how they are motivated, how they are responding, you should observe. Or while you teaching, I should sit somewhere else and observe, either peeping through the window or sitting here, because my presence may create variations. Whenever we are working in electronic devices like systems, other intelligent systems are not allowed here. Even mobile systems are not allowed in flights, you know that, because they used to announce that it will affect the navigation and communication system. So I will also affect your navigation and communication system. So I should peep somewhere else, or I should be provided a surveillance television mechanism wherein I can see how it can be done. So certainly it should be there. So unless I understand your response to your children, I cannot attune you to the level of their expectation, or them to your expectation, or both of you to my expectation or his expectation. So it is a practical exercise. But if we do that, we are pioneers then. The Boston Research School of Pedagogy are innumerable world universities which are thronging into the process of these learning exercises. So the second thing is behavioral observation. When you start something, then you go on climbing to something, reaching the apex. The third thing, when the classroom is over, how do they feel? Are they relieved? Are they unchained? Are they feeling liberated? Are they feeling very much blessed when you complete the class? Then I told in a seminar, somebody was asked, lot of lectures the persons they have given, and while getting public opinion, they asked some of the listeners, which part of my lecture you enjoyed the most? then they told that the ending session, when you say that you are going to withdraw, we enjoyed it most. Like that, how they feel. So we should make these type of recordings by means of their behavioral responses. If you ask by mouth, nobody dare to say that you are boresome, unless they are extremely bold. It is very difficult. So we have to appear the unconcealable expressions of child. Even children, they know how to smile in spite of the inner tears that they experience in the process of teaching or exercises and training. They also know, because it is acting is not only the behavior of human beings. All living beings know how to act, but they have very strong limitations. Whereas human beings, they are getting a wider plane of concealment, that in which they can overact in circumstances and create a contrary expression to what they believe or have inside. That skill is there. And children, they are also like animals, they have some limitations, but unconcealable expressions are there. So that you can understand from behavioral studies. Third thing is discussion. Discussions should start from personal. What do you feel? What you have taken? What do you like? How do you feel? Is there anything you want? So it should be a very casual thing, and it should be very precise and crispy. You should understand the need of a people. Somebody moving always around, what will be their wish? To sit somewhere else. Somebody always interested in sitting and taking rest. For a change, what they will prefer? To move here and there. So you have to here recall the story of a rich and poor friend. So rich friend daily was taking some sweet, some grand dish, and that poor fellow, he was taking just a porridge. And just for a change, the person was preferring to visit the rich man's house for a rich food. For a change, the same day the fellow has decided to go for a simple food which the poor fellow was taking daily. You know that. So you should know what the child wants. One, some children, they want something to be spoken out or somebody to speak with them. You should understand. For such people, the speech is a medicine. For other people, it is a malady. Some people are very restricted. When somebody talks with them more, they get irritated, annoyed or disturbed. For such people, speech is not a proper tool. They should be given proper exercises and entanglement. Entertainable entanglement should be given. So it is a very great thing. That is what we call in mathematics greatest common divisor is there. The GCD. Like that, if a person is having a very great spiritual urge of omniscient knowledge, whatever he speaks, that becomes applicable to all varieties of students. And if he gives such a grace or any gracious presentation by his knowledge, that becomes very much assimilable and suitable to all models. He only like a GCD can cover everything. All the other person, they have to tailor themselves separately and exclusively to each and every model of working. So the third thing is dialogue. Third thing, apart from historical understanding or perspective, then behavioral observation. The third thing is dialogue. They should give dialogue. Fourth thing is positive engagement. It should be prudently designed to the children to engage in sports, play, personal hobbies, collective hobbies, groupism, teaming. Everything should be based on their own absolute model, that is their insight. So it is known as positive and prudent engagement. By these four methods, we can assess the child. After assessment, you have to attune yourself to approach the model, and you should know something. Even after birth, you know that there is some connectivity. When any person resides as the vital element inside the father, after pregnancy, the father's connectivity is lost. After delivery, the mother's connectivity is lost. But that is only biologically. So, the subtle mutual bondage caused by the biosensors of configurative identity. Remote control is there. Remote control has all operations. They are at distance and wireless, and they can operate. Like that, even after post-delivery, a mother and father, they have their own sense of control, their own wish of control and power of control, provided they are in proper balance. That is also possible. And this is biological. Like that, the teacher is having equivalent or even excellent talents to control people by psychological configuration. That is known as approach. A teacher need not advise at all. A teacher, 10 times more than advice they can do in silence. 10 times by teaching, 100 times they can do by prayer. 50 times what they can do more than prayer by personal coaching, they can do by distant subjective communication. This is the power of teacher, provided that they volunteerize themselves for understanding that relation and bondage. If it is just for salary, if it is for personal enrichment means cash greenery. If it is for self-enrichment, or if it is just a prevaricated commitment, or if it is a professional duty, or that is a committed bondage, or fifth, that is an unintentional mechanical service that is offered by means of the commitment or agreement or contract, this type of contractual involvement and mutual benefit involvement, that does not work more. So whenever a person climbs, you know that if you sit here, can you see the surroundings? You cannot see the surroundings. Because you are restricted by walls, you can see only something inside the walls. But go to the top terrace, you can see everything. So if you want to go inside the child and see everything, you have to see three things, everything. You have to see everything inside you, because you are not only a teacher, you are having innumerable hidden dimensions, powerful dimensions. And you have to see everything inside the syllabus. The syllabus is not something which is written. Who is the teacher and who is the student? A student is a person who can see only what it is written. A teacher is a person who can see behind, beyond, above and around. That is a special vision of a teacher. And also to see in and all around within the child. So there are three visions for a teacher. One is self-introspective vision. And second is eco-introspective vision, in which they can see everything that is within the surroundings. And also to see the same thing inside the syllabus of the student is also the power. It is known as interceptive and introspective visions. So these powers are there within the teachers, but they have to climb up. And climbing up is nothing but, if it is like vertical, bottom to top, it is climbing up. If it is top to bottom, it is climbing down. So you have to go deeper. There is nothing to climb for the teachers. You have to make the reciprocal altitude, which is nothing but depth. What is depth? It is reciprocal altitude. If altitude is like this, the same altitude is reciprocal, it is known as depth. So we want to climb or climb down a reciprocal altitude, which is known as depth. The more you go inside by spiritual exercises, which we are going to say now, you cannot reach the composite or complete panoramic vision of yourself, the syllabus and the students. When they go inside, they can have three benefits I have already told. One is benefit of silence, second is benefit of prayer, and the third benefit is benefit of transmission from distance. So silence and distance and transcendence are the three special powers. Transcendence is to deal with inner truths, spiritual truths. Silence is to restrict from speech, advice or teaching. It does not mean that already the teaching is not understandable. If you completely stop teaching and go to silence, silence is an additive. It is a manure for your teaching. Silence itself cannot become teaching. Dakshinamurti story was there, where Dakshinamurti taught all the Sanakadi, 4 rishis have been taught in silence. There were such people. So silence should be an attributive manual for your speeches or lecturing technologies. And distance should be the en route to bind more proximity and intimacy with the children. And your transcendence should deal in such a manner that you can work with material or manual works. So you should have speech, you should have manual work, and you should have proximity. But proximity is reinforced not by proximity but by distance. Distant exercises. Your speech is not enriched by speech but by silent practices. Your physical dealing is not enriched by your physical exercises but by spiritual transcendental exercises. Each and everything is developed by a contrary environment. It is known as contra-eco-fabrication, in which each and everything is reinforced by a contractual, controversial environment. When there is a contact between silence and speech, silent meditation speech, the speech gets enriched. Instead of just writing on the upper surface of the children, you are inscribing in the abysmal core of the heart, which is unerasable till the person is burnt into pieces. So that should be there. I am going to give you few advices. Advices I have already given, few mantras for getting that. That is known as Panchabhyasa. I will give you 5 abhyasas. Now I have to assess your fortune, how you are going to continue these things with me. First is known as Mauna Sanidhya. Second is Abhava Vaidurya Sanidhya. Abhava Vaidurya Sanidhya. Aprakrita Sanidhya. Bodhana Parivartana Vaichakshanya. Bodhana Parivartana Vaichakshanya. Prag Avagamana. Prag Avagamana Chaitanya Prerana. Should remove your chappals while writing mantras and repeating the same. Generally, whenever I step inside the knowledge platform, immediately I used to remove the chappals. So, there are the 5 things. I will just give formal mantras. Formal mantras, immediately a born child cannot be given paratha, paneer, etc. You are all infants in Mantra Shastra, especially in spiritual dimensional learning of the instruction methodology or pedagogy. So I will give you warm-up exercises. Before yoga or gymnastics, they do warm-up exercises so that the body parts will be flexible and accustomed to any other basic foundation required for more further practices. Like that, these are all internal warm-up exercises, practices. For Mauna, I will say the mantras. Om Vache Namaha. Repeat it twice and strongly. Om Vachaspataye Namaha. Om Vaikarye Namaha. Om Vaikarye Namaha. Om Vaikarye Namaha. Om Vaikarye Namaha. Om Pravahimye Namaha. Om Pravahimye Namaha. Pravahimye Namaha. Om Subodhaye Namaha. Om Ninadaya Namaha. What is Ninada? If you observe external silence, you can hear the inner speech. In a classroom, the teacher shouted, silence, silence. Then she started speaking. Then a curious boy asked, teacher, you told that we should be silent and you were encroaching the room. That was a conditional silence. That is not unconditional. That is, you have to observe silence to create a condition or environment where the teacher can speak. You can hear the teacher very articulately. Like that, if you observe Mauna, that does not mean that you have to be in absolute burial. And then only patients in coma and burial ground, the people, they will be absolutely in Mauna. It is not like that. If you restrict your external derivations, you can hear the inner voice. That is known as Ninada. The practices may be different, we will see it later. But if you worship Ninada, you will be at least 10 to 20% more than what you are now. Then gradually we can go for the other steps. These 5 things are for Mauna Sanidhya. Anybody practicing these mantras for at least 10 to 15 minutes, if they are teaching for 5 hours, 5 hours they are teaching means, and 1/5 is 1 hour, 1/10 is half an hour. At least 1/10, half an hour they have to maintain these things. Either morning and evening, you can just make it as a peaceful practice. 10 minutes in morning, evening as well as afternoon sessions, or 15 minutes on both the periods. We can make that. Continuously also they can make. By chanting these mantras, immediately you cannot bring Mauna like that. You can write in a piece of paper like Mauna. Bringing Mauna is very difficult task. But you can start with these exercises. What is the effect of this Mauna? Any person practicing this vidya, they will get madhurya, What is madhurya? Whenever you speak, after, if you are not informed your students for their imagination, you keep on watching my speech and tell if I am more mellifluous. You should not ask, or you should not lead the children to go for that imagination. Naturally, you should wait and see that somebody will come to you and say, whether the other teachers or your friends or somebody, your voice, your presentation is more alluring, more inspiring and sweet. So this first benefit of this practice is mellifluity, melody. So each and everybody will have some sort of attention towards that. And second thing is simplicity and benevolence in presentation. Whenever you present something, instead of presenting something to make others to be assured that you know, you get assured and you get your own assurance that others would know from your speech. So instead of creating an environment or opportunity for others to assure that you know, you create an environment in which you are assured that others have understood. So this type of simplification and benevolence. What is simplification? Simplification is a process by which others are given knowledge. And benevolence is the process by which you take a challenge that you won't refrain till they get the knowledge. So a personal motivation or a strong urge to convert the other people to one's own self. It is known as identification. What is identification? Any person should be converted to his own self. That is known as Brahma Kida Nyaya, in which Brahma is the name of an insect which takes a worm, and by continuous entanglement with the worm, it converts the same worm into, by a process of metamorphosis, it converts the same worm into the insect of its own kind. It is known as Brahma Kida Nyaya in Sanskrit. Like that, you should see each and every student is converted at least to a teacher who can teach his fellow students and other people. That is known as Brahma Kida Nyaya. It is by simplification is make the student a proper student. Benevolence is make a student suitable for self-teaching, group teaching and leading for other process of education. That is the second benefit that you are giving. And third thing is unwarranted, ayachita bhakti bhava, unwarranted respect, love and reverence you will get from the children. So they will always think about you, they will love you, they will pay the respect to you. Everything is ayachita, without demanding, without commanding, without expectation you get that. There are innumerable other things. Whatever I told is just the first paragraph of the first chapter of pedagogy as per tradition, in which there are thousands of pages to cover in life. So whether we are going to apply everything or not, it is our loyalty and duty to see that these things are compiled and released as a syllabus for the whole world educational kingdom in the future. So it is known as Mauna Sanidhya. Second is Abhava Vaidhurya. Vaidhurya means at distance. Abhava means absence. We have to fill the absence and distance by means of our mental invasion or inner invasion or mutuality. We should create a bonding by that. By mantras. You cannot compel people to do that. There are only two possibilities. If you want to cover the children, there are only two possibilities. One, you should be silly, or otherwise you should be spiritual. Because children, they are very much attracted towards the cricket, then chocolates, ice creams, friends, play and other things, etc. If you do the same thing, then what is the use of conducting a school? Because school is not meant for chocolates and other things. So you should be silly or spiritual. Otherwise, naturally they are attracted to the parents till they get independence to kick their parents out in their future. Then I saw somebody very much proudly saying that yes, my child is kicking. At the time of pregnancy, the child was kicking, then they were happy. Same person in a magnificent form, he kicks a very grateful girl. At that time the parents are lamenting. But still, biological affinity is entering. That is something transient. The people are having only the possibilities of silly affiliations. Very dominantly. Is any chocolate coming and begging or advising you to eat it? Naturally you search, you go there. But teachers, they have to beg and advise. You have to create, how it is possible? It is not possible humanly. No human teacher can teach. No human teacher can transform. No human teacher can technicalize the modern society. No human teacher can produce any mega change in the aberrant society, in the maddened society. Only by a spiritual concern they can do that. Abhava is, even in the presence you cannot do anything. But in your absence and distance to do something, you need mantra bala, kriya bala, bhava bala and acharana bala. You have to produce all of these things by exercise, by incessant practice. Number one, how to create mantras. Om Sannihitaye Namaha.
Om
Sannihitaye Namaha. Om Sannidhyay Namaha. You have to repeat twice. Start, repeat twice. Om Sannidhyay Namaha. Om Sannidhyay Namaha. Om Sannidhyay Namaha. Om Anupraveshinyay Namaha. Om Anupraveshinyay Namaha. Om Anupraveshinyay Namaha. Om Bhavinyay Namaha. Om Bhavinyay Namaha. Om Bhavinyay Namaha. Om Samyoginyay Namaha. Om Samyoginyay Namaha. Om Samyoginyay Namaha. Om Abhitishtaye Namaha. Om Abhitishtaye Namaha. Om Abhitishtaye Namaha. So these are the mantras to create wireless communication network between the students as well as the teacher in spite of their absence, in spite of the distance. So whenever a teacher does the daily worship, even at the time of vacation, there are 4 types of separations. One is non-academic periods, whereby after the school is over, there is no contact. There is no valid contact between the teachers and students, unless there is a tuition. Even after the tuition is over, there is no contact. It is known as non-periodical separation. There is no period, there is separation. Second is vocational separation. Third thing is examinal separation. Third thing is promotive separation. If somebody is promoted from the school, they are separated. But still then, without naming the people, it does not require, if you call Sarve Jana Sukhina Bhavantu, then you did not give a statistical report like census, the names, age, address of all people. Sarve Jana means everything is included. If you pray for the welfare of all students who are separated either by vacation, non-periodicalism, or by examination, or by a promotive vacation where they are sent to some other schools or professions, everything, if you make a common prayer with stolidity, the careful consideration and concern of the students either in distance or in presence. They also say that Acharya and Shishya Sambandha is 100 times more intimate than what we call as Matra Pitru Putra Sambandha is there. Whatever that happens, I have already told in these 5 things. One is known as intuitive, that is prerana. I have already told prerana. If a student is going to get something bad, the teacher should be able to infer it by intuitively. And also a student should understand what is the motive of the children. So these things are very much essential. Third thing is bodhana, parivartana. What is bodhana? Bodhana is teaching what to do, and parivartana is relieving the people from what not to do. So transformation takes you from the don'ts to the do's, and bodhana is a process by which mere do's are implanted. So both the things are special arts, like Shankar and Chakra of Vishnu, like both eyes of human beings or any other organisms. They are like 2 eyes. One is bodhana shakti, second is parivartana shakti. You have to erase, just as in a CD, you have the liberty as well as the provision inside the CD to rewrite, erase or write. That thing is there, the liberty is there, that provisional standard is there. Like that, you have to see that there is a provisional possibility and potential possibility. Potential possibility is within you, provisional possibility is with the student. You have to see how we can write or rewrite. Rewriting is by erasure. How we can do that? Om Buddhyay Namaha. Om Buddhyay Namaha. Om Satya Sankalpaya Namaha. Om Satya Sankalpaya Namaha. Om Satya Sankalpaya Namaha. Om Dridhaya Namaha. Om Dridhaya Namaha. Om Dridhaya Namaha. Om Rudhyay Namaha. Om Rudhyay Namaha. Om Rudhyay Namaha. Om Asanchalaya Namaha. Om Asanchalaya Namaha. Om Asanchalaya Namaha. Om Pratiptyay Namaha. Om Pratiptyay Namaha. Om Pratiptyay Namaha. Pradiptyay Namaha. Om Pradiptyay Namaha. Om Pradiptyay Namaha. Om Yashovardhinyay Namaha. Om Yashovardhinyay Namaha. Om Yashovardhinyay Namaha. Prabhadayay Namaha. Prabhadayay Namaha. Prabhadayay Namaha. Prabhadayay Namaha. The final 2 siddhis are very distributive in nature. They are very elaborated because there are higher accomplishments. The final thing, these things are very simple. The final two siddhis like prerana, antapravesha, all of these things are highly spiritual and mystical in nature. I will give you 2 bija mantras and the descriptions you can see later. Om Satantaryamine Namaha. Om Sadantaryamine Namaha. Om Sadantaryamine Namaha. Om Sadantaryamine Namaha. Om Sanniyogaye Namaha. Om Sanniyogaye Namaha. Om Sanniyogaye Namaha. Om Abhivaraya Namaha. Om Abhivaraya Namaha. Om Abhivaraya Namaha. Om Vyapinye Namaha. Om Vyapinye Namaha. Om Vyapinye Namaha. Om Sarvashaktyai Namaha. Om Sarvashaktyai Namaha. Om Sarvashaktyai Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om. So these mantras you have to memorize and you have to take it as a small practice, some elementary practice or maiden practice that you have to do for at least 1/10 of the duration that you are taking for teaching. You have to do that. And gradually within a month or two you may realize I have already told about the benefits, but I did not elaborate the benefits and how you can master the benefits and market the benefits for this usage. It is a small introduction. I hope that it has given a proper trailer to the complete vision that I am going to give or you are going to take in the future. I vision thus that you should have a strong determination and uninterrupted continuity in practicing all of these things. It should not be a morsel distance, should not be a metropolitan distance between 2 cities. Yesterday I already told. I hope that I could see all of you again with more messages. And as a substantial supplementary to whatever I given by my direct imparting, there can also be cyber stage discussion. I already told my mail ID is with everybody. You can get my mail ID and whatever the doubts are there, you can ask the doubts. Even the doubts are very simple, repetitive and silly. By means of a special alchemy, I can convert all the doubts into positive doubts, different doubts and powerful doubts. And by answers, we can get random messages which after 3 or 4 months can be compiled orderly to create different segments, departments, chapters to frame a syllabus for our traditional art of pedagogy or the joy of learning, which we have to name the book. If you name it as instructional pedagogy or something else, they will think that oh, it is a technical book. If you name it as joy of learning, everything about education, the inner spirit, like that, the bliss of wisdom, like that if you give a catchy name, everybody thinks that oh, okay, it is very much accessible and admirable and amicable to our standards. So let us see that we are going to create a new door for the risky journey towards knowledge. I already told, knowledge has inbuilt joy. Knowledge has inbuilt sweetness. Only problem is there is no person available either to relish or make others realize the joy of knowledge.
Technology, I have not yet come across a single subject of which he does not know everything. Thank you very much, sir. As you said, this is just the beginning. Let us hope we have a second.